Welcome back to my mental health and crime channel. My name is Huda London. This is all my thoughts, my speculations and my opinions only. Today I'd like to go back to the Idaho folk case. Let's go back to the text messages between the two surviving roommates, DM and BF. It started from 10 past 2. This is when DM contacts Eric Gower. She texts him and asks if he's driving. He replies back at 2:13, but DM does not call him back or text him. Wonder what that was about. Why would you text the Uber driver asking him if he's driving, and then you don't reply back? I wonder if that was a code, a signal. Was DM trying to tell Eric Gower to pass the message, the coast is clear? Could it be possible? Let me start by saying that this is all my thoughts, my speculations and my opinions only. Then at 2:53, pay attention to the fact that there's silence between 2:13 to 2:53. Maddie Morgan calls Bethany Funk. No answer. Let's not forget what Bethany Funk said in her interview to the detective. Was it Maury? One of the other detectives? She clearly said that at between 2:30 to 3 a.m., Maddie came knocking at the door, asking BF if she saw Murphy, the dog. And right before that, BF walked with Maddie outside to the backyard to take Murphy the dog for a walk. What happened to Maddie, I wonder? Why was she searching for Murphy? BF said around 3 a.m. she heard someone that sounded like they bashed into the kitchen table. She thought it was Zana and Ethan. I wonder why. I wonder if Zana and Ethan came home much earlier than that, and that there was a fight going on upstairs near the back door, the sliding door. Because when you hear all the noises, especially at 2:55 and 19 seconds, you hear a female yelling, "Stop it, stop. Stop it, stop." I've been pointing this out from the very beginning of this case because we heard the "stop it, stop" at 2:55 and 19 seconds at the Banfield too. Or a couple of seconds difference. Isn't that strange? I've always said it sounded like Maddie or Kaylee, because I believe Zana and Ethan were unalived before that. So these two surviving roommates were texting each other. And let's not forget that BF was actually taking photos, taking pictures for a whole minute. Wonder if she's taking pictures of the 4 victims and sending it around, allegedly. Because, let's not forget, Saeed was watching some disturbing pictures at the Banfield around 2:54, 2:55 a.m. It was Saeed who was standing there next to the officer when we heard from the officer's body cam a female yelling from King Road direction saying, "Stop it, stop." Things are adding up. They're lining up so perfectly. That is strange. At 2:53 is when Maddie Morgan calls Bethany Funk. And at 2:55 and 19 seconds, 2 minutes and 19 seconds later, you hear a female yelling, "Stop it, stop." I wonder if that was Maddie. Why didn't Bethany Funk answer the phone? She was awake. Keep in mind, she could hear somebody crashing into the kitchen table, or it sounded like somebody crashing into the kitchen table, according to her police interview. She would have heard all the noise, all the fighting. Bethany Funk said that she saw Zana in all black. When did Zana come home, Bethany Funk? I personally believe they changed the timelines of Zana and Ethan on purpose, because there was a fight, allegedly, like it was said, at the Sigma Chi fraternity party with David Lott, David Berry, allegedly against Zana and Ethan. And I believe that. "3:51 and 3 seconds, DM creates a new contact in the phone. Wonder what that was about. And then 4:19, BF calls DM. 4:20, DM calls Zana Konodo. Obviously, they knew the victims wouldn't answer, in my opinion. My speculation only. And then they start calling Kaylee Gongalves, Ethan Chapin, and so on, just to get a storyline, an alibi. In my opinion. Why didn't they just call 911? Then you can see the text continue. 4:21, DM calls Maddie Morgan. 4:22, BF calls Maddie Morgan. 4:22, BF calls Ethan. 4:22, DM calls BF. No one's answering, she says. 4:22, DM to BF. I'm really confused. If you're confused, why don't you call for help? Now, what is interesting for me? 4:34. BF accesses Snapchat. That is interesting. That is at 4:34. Now, this is when all the social media exchanges are going on when they're accessing social media. 4:37, Bethany Fun accessed Instagram. 7:30, Bethany Fun calls Dad. Do you all remember she had a toothache, allegedly, and her father's a dentist? 8 a.m., BF calls Dad once again. How many times do you need to call your dad for a toothache? He already told her to take the medicine for the toothache. 8 a.m., BF calls another number. Now that is interesting. I wonder who did she call? 8:01, BF calls home. 8:02, BF calls mom. Strange. Why didn't she just call her dentist? Although it was Sunday, I'm sure there was an emergency place open. Why didn't she just take a trip to the emergency room? Oh, I forgot, she couldn't. There was a crime scene there to attend to, allegedly. 8:09, Dad calls BF. Between 8:05 to 10 a.m. and 45 seconds, DM is on Instagram. I wonder what she was doing on Instagram for 1 hour and 55 minutes. That's 2 hours almost. Was she spreading the word? Allegedly. 8:41 to 8:42, BF takes photos. That's 1 whole minute. Wonder who she's taking photos of. Her tooth or the 4 victims? Just a question. She had a toothache. It doesn't take a whole minute to take photos of your tooth. I doubt that. Why would you be taking photos when you have a toothache? Strange. 9:04, Mom texts BF. So pay attention to, there was a lot of text messages and phone calls going from BF to Dad, BF to Mom, Mom calling BF, Dad calling BF, BF taking photos for 1 whole minute, Mom texting BF. Were they building an alibi? In my opinion, something is not right there. And then 10 a.m. and 56 seconds to 10:01, DM is messaging incoming and outgoing Snapchat. So these people were using Snapchat, clearly. It was in the Snapchat group chat that everyone found out before 10 a.m. Wow. Pay attention. Jack Showalter said he found out about the quadruples, the homicides, at 1122 King Road at 10 a.m. on Snapchat. Dave on Dateline, the first guy that mentioned that he was on his way to work around 10 a.m. and he heard about the unalivings at 10 a.m. on Snapchat or group Snapchat. We heard Kaylee's friend, Eva, saying the same. She heard it at 10 a.m. Pay attention to what is going on at 10 a.m. 10 a.m. and 56 seconds to 10:01 and 40 seconds. DM is messaging messages incoming and outgoing Snapchat. Boom. Boom. That is a fact. So that lines up with all the rumors and Jack Showalter's interview. When he called the police, when he made the call to the police, if you'll remember, go back and hear the interview. He said that he found it out at 10 a.m. And we have DM on Snapchat. So it was DM who was spreading the word about the 4 victims. 10 a.m. and 3 seconds to 10 a.m. and 30 seconds, 27 seconds, DM is on the Indeed app. What is she? Applying for Kaylee's job? I wonder. Strange. Really strange behaviors. 10:04 to 10:23. DM messages incoming and outgoing Snapchat. So if you pay attention from 10 a.m. right up to 10:30, DM is on Snapchat. Sorry. She's on Snapchat from 10 a.m. to 10:01 and 40 seconds. That's 2 minutes. Then she goes back on Instagram. So she's on Instagram at 8:52. So DM is very active on Instagram, Snapchat, incoming, outgoing messages, Instagram, Indeed app, everything basically. BF is too busy with mom, dad, texting, calling mom, dad, them calling her back. But then yet again, BF is taking photos for a whole minute. She's on Instagram too. What I'm trying to show you is these 2 surviving roommates were, I personally believe, sending signals to Eric Gower at 2:10. BF ignored Maddie's call at 2:55. 2:53. We heard a female yelling, "Stop it, stop," at 2:55 and 19 seconds, 2 minutes after Maddie called BF, and I believe she was calling for help. Poor victims. But I wanted to prove to y'all that DM was on Snapchat at 10 a.m. She was messaging, incoming and outgoing Snapchat. That is when she was spreading the word around. And we heard on Jordan's interview, right in the beginning of this case on ABC News, she said, "I tried calling Kaylee after I heard about what happened." She starts crying. And then she said, but nobody answered. It was 10 a.m. Jack Showalter said he saw and heard about what happened at 1122 King Road at 10 a.m. on Snapchat, group Snapchat. Second person, we have Dave, the guy who was on Dateline and was talking in the beginning. He said he was on his way to work and he heard it at 10 a.m. too. So it was DM, passing the word, texting, messages, incoming and outgoing on Snapchat. And then you see DM going back on Snapchat between 10:04 and 54 seconds, right up to 10:23 and 2 seconds. So almost 20 minutes. DM is spreading the word on Snapchat. So she was on Snapchat for a while. She was on Instagram for a while, Indeed app, Visco, many other things. Let me know what you'll think. I'll end it by what was happening at 2 a.m. Because at 2:10, DM was texting Eric Gow. So I believe the fight, the struggle for Zana and Ethan started at 2 a.m. Between 1:55 to 2 a.m. In fact, I believe between 1:55 to 2:25, 2:30 a.m. Maddie and Kaylee, I believe, were attacked after the call they made to Jack D, in my opinion, because you hear a female yelling, "Stop it, stop." Bethany Funk would have seen Zana because she was at the Sigma Chi fraternity party. She would have definitely seen Zana. So I wonder why did she mention that she saw Zana in all black? Bethany Funk definitely has escapoto evidence, and that is the right reason she did not come to the pre-hearing, in my opinion.
Down to like the injuries and where the kids were, and that Dylan and Bethany were in the downstairs room. They knew the guys who were there. It wasn't just one. They knew who they were. There was a lot of loud noise, and they locked themselves in their rooms and went to sleep. I said, or if you're hiding, whatever. But I said, why didn't they call the police? She goes, I don't know. And like, I just...
DM would have heard everything. Look at how close the sliding door and the kitchen window is next to her window. That is the kitchen window. DM's window is to the right. She said that she gets scared and frightened of any little noise. She would have heard everything, in my opinion. Keep in mind that 4chan Anonymous said that the surviving roommates locked themselves in the room at the first floor. That would be Bethany Funke's room. But they heard rummaging upstairs at 2:15, and they believed it was the Sigma Chi fraternity boys. Keep that in mind. I still believe the fraternities have something to do with Ethan and Zana is unaliving. Where was Hunter Johnson between 3 to 5 a.m.? And why is Jack D lying about his alibi? Could one of the motives be what happened in Halloween at the Sigma Chi? Let me know what you'll think. Please like, share, and subscribe. This is all my thoughts, my speculations, and my opinions only.